to this day, that scar remains. Well, here's what I want you all to see. Look at the ages of the Niners players the last time they played in the Super Bowl. Bosa, 22. Greenlaw, 22. Fred, 23. Devo, 24. Kittle, 26. Juszczyk, 28. But now you cut to how they have grown and how they have matured. 26, 26, 27, 28, 30, 32. It's time for the Niners to get back. In my mind, all of the pressure is on the Niners because these all-pros that are seated behind me, well, standing behind me, they lost the first time around, 2019, in that Super Bowl. They had a 10-point lead. That lead had slipped away. Now it's time for them to handle business. Heading to the desk, LeSean, Shady, McCoy, you were at that game.
I was there.
You were there. Got a little jewelry from it. Far end, that's James Jones, Super Bowl champion. Is that a jogger?
Oh, you see it.
Jumper? Oh, yeah. Oh,
Super Bowl week. I'm waiting on Shady to bring his.
Oh, we got Super Bowl rings on the set, man.
You can't get that in the gum machine. You can't get that there. Hey, that's a real one.
We got Super Bowl rings on set.
Yeah.
I see it.
It's not this too heavy. I'm gonna drop it.
It ain't got no dust on it, though.
Bring it.
Bring it.
They ain't never gonna get dusty. We're gonna shine them up. Hey, that's nice, man. Heavy. Nice, man. Dang, Blake. I had 3.
This is what is on the line this week. A ring.
Champions.
World champions. Diamonds.
Are y'all ready for Usher? Are y'all ready for Usher?
All the things.
Usher gonna turn that thing out. I ain't gonna lie, though. Since I've been on this desk, you guys are like my real teammates. In fact, I know y'all even more. You ever had like a player you see on TV and then you become his teammate? It's like, I know you more now. I know you real well. I know you can't dance.
Shady, we were teammates.
Yo, I know. Usher come on, you gonna just do it about your head. He gonna be like, cause I know he can't dance. Can you dance?
The problem is your setup wasn't a setup. Yeah. We were teammates.
Yeah. Can you dance?
Hey, of course I can dance, Shady.
2-step.
That's it.
Yeah, we should do the polls after this show. Could Acho dance? Yes or no?
Post it. Well, Shady, can you answer me this? Is all the pressure on the 49ers?
Nah, that's even. Think about this for a second. Like, you got the best team, I think, in football since Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are at home, right? It's the 49ers. Best team the last 2 years. They've been solid. You look at the all-pro list, they got a lot of them on that team. You go to the other side, right? They don't have as much talent, much superstars, but they do got the best coach in football, Andy Reid. They do got the best quarterback in football, Patrick Mahomes. They do got the Swiftie, Travis Kelce. They do got Chris Jones. So it's even to me. You got all the superstars on one team, and you got a couple superstars that's really big superstars. So I think it's all even to me.
Shady, don't you think, though, because you love boxing, and to me there's no greater boxing.
And I can box.
And you can.
For y'all, want to try me. If I say something about y'all, I can box. Just know that. Sorry.
There's no greater boxing event than a rematch. To me, a rematch is always best. I remember watching Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. Obviously, I think it was Fury who won the first one, and then I think Wilder may have won the second one. You know better than I.
They tied, and they beat him. Yep.
Whenever there's a rematch, it's always best to me because, to me, the person who lost the first time got to get back.
True.
There's more pressure to me for the team, for the fighter that lost, than the fighter that's already the champ.
Okay.
The Niners lost the first time. They lost to you. They lost to Mahomes. They lost to Reid. They lost to Kelce. Don't you see there being more pressure because the Niners have been here and they fell short? It's time for them to even a score.
You know what? That is a good point. It's called the get back. I get that. And then I think the Niners are over. Kyle Shanahan is over against Andy Reid.
Never beat him.
Yeah. But
never beat
to say that, I mean, that's why the Niners are favorite, right? If you look at the roster, let's look at the roster for 1 second. That roster's a lot better than the Chiefs roster. Would you agree?
No doubt.
Right? So I got to go with them as the favorite. I got to go with them as not even the top dog, because I don't believe in Mahomes as underdog. They asked me that other day about an underdog. He said, underdog? Me? I don't even look at that. They're underdog against the Eagles, and they beat them. So I think it's a true match. It's an even matchup. You got the greatest of all time type players on one side, and do you have a lot of superstars on the other side. So it's going to be a good matchup.
I agree. I think this is completely split.
Yeah.
I can make an argument on either side. I don't think there's a true How Patrick Mahomes going to be the underdog?
That doesn't sound wild.
It's silly. So
last 3 weeks.
And there's definitely pressure.
Right.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And how did that work out for everybody?
Feel me?
And there's a ton of pressure on the Niners for all the reasons that you laid out at the top of the show, and Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy's future and his money and the future of that franchise. And then you go to the Chiefs and you've got legacy on the line, conversations of putting yourself unequivocally next to the GOAT. There's pressure on both sides of the ball here. And depending on how this game goes, there's going to be a lot of talk about what happened during the regular season, what different teams need. If the Chiefs don't do well, which, no one's really anticipating, but if they don't, how much more do they need to put around Patrick Mahomes? How do they retool? What kind of skill positions do they get him? If Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan don't get it done, is Kyle Shanahan's system really work? Is Brock Purdy really the future? So there's a lot on the line for both teams.
No doubt about it. And when I look at it, if Patrick Mahomes goes out here and plays bad, I ain't even going to say throw picks or whatever, just say he plays bad and his team loses the football game, we're going to be on Patrick Mahomes' head. This team does not win if Patrick Mahomes does not play well. This team can still possibly win if Brock Purdy plays average. So when you talk about pressure, the pressure to me is on the Kansas City Chiefs. I would split it down the middle, but the pressure to me is on Patrick Mahomes and these Kansas City Chiefs, man, because, number one, they've been here before. They are chasing something different than the Niners are chasing. Patty Mahomes and Andy Reid, they chasing greatness. They chasing dynasties. They chasing all that. When you're chasing something like that, to me, just trying to get one done, it's more pressure on the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe, because they have been here multiple times. They are one dude chasing Tom Brady, another coach chasing Bill Belichick. They are chasing something different when you talk about rings-wise. And for me, when you're chasing something like that, the more pressure going to be on you to go out there and perform at a very, very high level.
Y'all won in 2010 versus the Steelers. That would have been the Steelers chasing their third in 11 years.
Yeah.
Did you feel like going into that game, you had more pressure? Did you feel like Aaron Rodgers had more pressure than Big Ben? Like McCarthy had more pressure than Tomlin? Because to some degree, you've been in this situation before. Yeah. Rodgers was chasing his first. Ben was chasing maybe his third. And Tomlin was chasing his second.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you had more pressure going into that game or less? Because you've been there before.
Yeah, and that's a really good question because when you showed that the young ages, when they've been there and now they're going back, I truly believe the time was winning when you was young. We walking into the Super Bowl like, this is easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we young players. We don't even really, know the magnitude of this game or really how hard it is to get back here. We had a young roster. We had 3 dudes on the team that has ever played in the Super Bowl. Charles Woodson and 2 other free agent dudes that we had on the football team. So we're walking into the football game not really knowing, man, we at the Super Bowl. This is the biggest game in the world. So we didn't really feel pressure because a lot of us were young. I promise you, Fred Warner and those guys going up in this thing for the second time, being older, knowing how hard it is to get there, they are going to feel that now, right? They probably, when they was in that first game, they probably like, man, we're going to beat Patrick Mahomes. We'll be back here plenty of times. So right now, I think they're really going to be feeling it.
This, Joy, is why I think it's easily the Niners. Because now Fred Warner, Juszczyk, Debo, Kittle, they all know how hard it is to get back.
Yep.
They realized there was a 4-year gap between their first Super Bowl appearance, their second Super Bowl appearance. In those 4 years, Shady's won another Super Bowl and been on TV for a couple years. That's how long it's been since they were last in the Super Bowl. If it's another 4-year gap, half them cats is probably out the league or on different teams. Fred is probably on his last contract. Debo's probably on a different team. Juszczyk probably out the league. Kittle probably on a, hey, thanks for being here contract. To me, I think the Niners have to understand this is likely it. If you're the Chiefs, you go back like magic. I mean, y'all go back. Not easy at all. Not easy at all. But like you said, some of those Chiefs players are thinking, as long as we here with Pat, we going back. But if you're Fred, Greenlaw, Bosa, you're like, hey, bruh, we might not get back for another 4. So to me, I think it's all on the Niners because they've lived it. They know it's a 4-year thing for them. So speak on that. That's, of course, Mahomes has pressure. But if you're the Niners, if it's every 4 years, woo, that's pressure.
No, I mean, there's plenty of pressure on the Niners.
No doubt.
For sure. I think it's very even because depending on how this game goes, we'll have things to say about Pat afterwards. Oh, you let Brock Purdy beat you in a Super Bowl. It won't be reasonable. No, I'm not saying we're going to be reasonable about it, but it is going to happen. What's on their roster? Was Travis Kelce distracted? Did Taylor Swift cause a problem? There's going to be all these narratives if the Chiefs don't get it done. It's not like this is a pass for the Chiefs. If you want to say there's more on the Niners because it's been harder for them to get back, I understand that. But that's why I'm saying to me it's very, very even. There's narratives on both sides of this game that we will talk about depending on how this game goes. Outside of an absolute shootout to the very end, there's going to be critiques about both of these organizations leaving this game and the expectations that we have for them and the expectations we have for them to get back.
Shady, if Mahomes...
Hold on for a second. So I'm just thinking about, both conferences, the AFC and the NFC. Both of these teams achieved the most. So, for example, you talked about And 2019, the Niners went to the Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
The next year they didn't make it. But the year after that, they went to the NFC
Championship game.
Yeah, against the Rams, right?
To the Rams.
Okay, so they back there again.
Yep.
The next year after that,
NFC Championship game. Lose
back again.
Yeah.
The year after that,
Super Bowl.
So as much as you're saying there's pressure, they always there. The Chiefs, the same thing. AFC Championship game, AFC Championship game, Super Bowl. It's the same thing. So when you talk about the pressure, you're looking at the same person. This one got a couple greats, and the other one got more superstar players. How is that not even?
But the pressure's always on me when you have to perform.
Yeah.
Like Patrick Mahomes is laying down right now he has to perform at a high level.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is I would say the same is true for both parties. Finally, Pat has a defense. Pat has a defense. I would also suggest the Niners don't really win games if Brock don't show up crucially at some point. Remember, against the Ravens, he never really showed up, statistically more than on tape. Against the Bengals, against the Vikings, and really against the Browns, obviously weather conditions were atrocious. But still, you missed a 40-yard field goal, should have made it, but that's regardless. He still didn't show up. So in my mind, it's like, Brock can't just go out there and go 14 for 32 and think they gonna win. I think both those QBs.
Yeah.
Now Pat
Or
will
get down 17.
That part. He ain't coming back down 17.
Ain't not gonna let him do that. The defense is too good for the Chiefs, and then Andy Reid ain't let you come back 17 down. What?
Nope.
But for me, it's if Purdy does not play well, this is his first Super Bowl, he's a young quarterback, all this stuff. If Patty don't play well, Patty's about to get drugged if he does not play well. So, I
can't drug. I can never drug.
I understand what you're saying from what he accomplished, but when you're talking about pressure, Brock Purdy can go out there and not play well, and we like, man, this kid is in his second season.
That's true.
Right?
That is true. That's
been
true.
to the NFC Championship and been to the Super Bowl. And yes, like we tell all these quarterbacks, Josh Allen, he ran into Patty. You know, if Patty does not play well and go out there,
but don't you think? Don't you think
it's Patty?
I would say, I think Pat probably has more of an out if he doesn't play well, because he ain't got no help outside of Kelsey. We're gonna say he ain't got no help. Whereas, like for me, Purdy has to get it done. Your team is the most talented freaking team of the generation.
Yeah, you can't.
How can you lose now?
You can't be better than the Niners. Like you can't ask for more.
You can't.
Than the Niners.
If you had, they could double team Kels, try to take him out the game. I'll display that later in the show. And then it's like, hey, bro.
Beat us.
Really quick.
Beat us.
If Brock Purdy goes out here and beats Patrick Mahomes, number one, I'm not coming to work because I know you are going to act a fool. So when you are saying that certain stuff,
I won't either.
No, he doesn't. If this dude beats Patrick Mahomes, everybody is going to praise this dude. If Patrick Mahomes loses, Patrick Mahomes is going to get a lot of criticism. And he has to play at
Mahomes will or the Chiefs will?
I ain't giving Pat no credit.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs will.
The Chiefs will.
Mahomes would have to have a pretty bad game. He'd have to have a pretty bad game, and he's had so many big games in the biggest moments that I don't know that we would specifically
not kill him like he's sorry and he never coming back here.
We would kill the Chiefs, though. We would probably give the Chiefs. We would give the Chiefs more slack than we would Patrick Mahomes. But I hear you though, because if we come in here on Monday and like. Two scenarios. Patrick Mahomes doesn't play well and they lose, or Brock Purdy doesn't play well and they lose. The second one sounds much more familiar. So that being said, I see what you're saying about the
bigger story too, Pride.
I ain't coming to work if that the first one.
It was. Don't worry, you won't be here at work because no one feels like that's going to happen. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.